Hey YouTube, I hope you guys are all doing well. It's Adrian Hunter from over here at PipeDreamHookah, and today I'm going to be bringing you a review on Art Hookah's Aviator stem. Today's setup is going to be an aluminum D-hose with just the standard Egyptian bell base. The Aviator stem set up with just one stem piece. It comes in, you get two stem pieces. I'll get into that when I go into specs. I've got a Goodfella V3 bowl on top. I've got some Messiah Lemon Mint and some Messiah Iced Mint packed inside of it. And I've got 3 Hookah John titanium flats on top. And this bowl's been going for about 20 minutes now. And I can expect to get about another half hour from these coals. Before I get into anything like the draw of the hookah or pricing or anything like that, I want to cut over some B-roll and show you guys some of the specs on this hookah.
Okay, so let's get into the specs of this stem, starting with the materials that it is made from. This stem is made from an air-grade aluminum compound known as 6061-T6. This is used in spacecraft, aircraft, and even some weapons, hence the name of the stem. The stem does come in 7 separate modular parts, and to list them from the top to the bottom of the stem, you have your bowl port, a tray, 2 separate stem pieces, you have a heart or a chamber, whatever you choose to call it, a hose port, and then a down stem that connects to the bottom of the heart. Each of your stem pieces will measure in at roughly 8 inches apiece, and the down stem measures in at 10 inches, but after installation it will descend from the chamber at about 9 inches. The threading on all of these pieces is fairly bulky, not quite as bulky as something like the Prometheus hookah's threading, but is very durable. I haven't even noticed the paint chipping away as I assemble and disassemble this stem. The length of the hookah, when everything's put together, that's all 7 pieces with both of these stem pieces, comes at 28 inches. And you can choose to put this hookah together using only one stem piece. That will measure in at 20 inches. The weight of the hookah when the whole thing's put together is just under a kilo or 2.2 pounds. And then when you take one of the stem pieces out, it comes in at 1.8 pounds. The bore of the hookah, going from the top all the way to the bottom of the down stem, comes in at 9/16 of an inch, which provides a pretty open draw. And then the smallest choke point of this hookah is 6/16 of an inch, and you can find that right at the hose port.
Alright guys, so now that you had a chance to take a look at some of the specs for this hookah, I'd like to get into the draw of the hookah, and I'm just going to start by saying it is extremely wide open. Due to the fact that the stem, the bore on the stem measures in at 9/16 of an inch, and your smallest choke point, like I said, comes in at 6/16 of an inch, it's just going to be very wide open the whole way down. You can change the restriction a little bit by changing your water level or using a hose with a little more restriction. But unless you do one of these things, the pull is going to be wide open and effortless. Let's take a look at a couple clouds really quick. The clouds are going to be very good, big and full-bodied. That's going to have a lot more to do with how you pack your bowl, how you manage your heat, than it is going to have to do with the hookah itself. Because it's so wide open, as long as you pack your bowl correctly, your clouds are going to be gigantic and full. Now, because this stem breaks down into 7 pieces, it's very easy to clean. Normally you have to take your stem, especially when that comes in at 28 inches like this, very, very long from the bottom to the top. You'd normally have to get a pretty long stem brush and go into your I have to use my bathtub. I don't have a sink big enough to clean anything like my full-size cams or anything. I have to go to my bathtub. But with this stem, you can actually break it down and do it all at your kitchen sink, which is very convenient, and I happen to enjoy this feature a lot. And because of the material that this hookah is actually made of, it doesn't ghost at all. Provided you clean it after each use, you're not going to notice any ghosting whatsoever. From my experience, it doesn't matter what flavors you're smoking through it. As long as when you're done smoking, you give it a once through with a stem brush and some water, you're not going to notice any ghosting at all. Now, so far, I've obviously only had good things to say about this pipe. In between the material that it's made of, its wide open draw, the fact that it does not ghost whatsoever, it's how lightweight it is, it being modular, and its overall aesthetic, it's just a fantastic pipe. But I do have a few negative things to get into that I think you should all be aware of. And the first one is it's a subjective thing. It's very much my opinion that this is negative, but I think a lot of people are going to share this opinion, and it's important to be aware of. It does not have a traditional chamber. It has what they call a common chamber, and for anyone who doesn't know what that is, instead of having two dedicated chambers for the hose port and the purge port, it's kind of just an open well, and what that causes is for your purges to not completely clear the smoke from the base, and I can show that to you right now. So the base is full of smoke, as you can see, and when you purge it, hopefully you can see this from there, it clears the smoke down to about this far, but everything down here isn't really going to clear past this point. You can purge it all that you want to, and you're still going to have a ton of smoke here. So it's never going to purge completely. And I'm not sure exactly what the reason for that is with it being a common chamber, but my best guess is that because when you purge, since there aren't any dedicated chambers for each port, as you blow air through, there's really nothing stopping the air that you're blowing to just come straight out of the purge valve. So the air actually doesn't go full circle like it would with a traditional chamber. The airflow kind of just makes this tiny little U shape, and you can see that when you purge, it only comes down to here. So obviously, you're not going to clear the smoke with that common chamber. If you pack your bowl correctly, this isn't going to be a huge issue. As long as you're not charring your shisha tobacco, you're not going to notice any issues with this. Purging it, even though it only purges down to here, you should notice that your smoke cools down quite a bit, even though it will not purge the entire base. The other negative issue I want to get into, which is also not a very big deal, but it's something that a lot of people online have been complaining about, and I just wanted to get into for a second before I wrap this thing up, is that I can't show you here because when it's set up as just with one stem piece, you're not going to notice this. But when you have both stem pieces put on and you've got the full length hookah, if you smoke a couple of juicier bowls, like maybe some haze, you're going to notice that if you don't clean it in between, after 2 or 3 bowls, you are going to see some leaking in between the 2 stem pieces. A little bit of molasses is just going to come down right where the 2 connect, where the threading is. And this isn't a huge issue, and as long as you're taking care of your hookah and cleaning it between uses, I doubt it's ever going to come up, but it is just something to be aware of. But between that and the common chamber, I definitely, I don't think it gets a whole lot of negative points for those 2 factors. They really aren't a big deal, just something to be aware of when you buy it. Because of these 2 factors, and I knew about these beforehand because there were a couple reviews on it out before, because it did just see a price drop, and I'll get into that in just a second. But Zach from Strictly Shisha did do a review on it, and because of the big Facebook online communities, there's a lot of information being passed around about the stem. And it was originally priced at about $180. And because of that, it's competing in the same range as like Prometheus hookahs and the Starbucks hookahs. And because of that, a lot of people weren't picking it up because when you're comparing it to stems of similar pricing, they don't have the same issues that this pipe does at all. However, in the past, I want to say 3 months ago, Hookah John, I think, was the first vendor to do that, and I think a lot of them have been following suit since, dropped the stems pricing down to $85. $85, this pipe is an absolute steal. I went ahead and picked it up 2 weeks after he dropped the price, and I honestly couldn't be happier. It smokes like a $150, $160 stem, and it looks like one as well. The overall quality of the stem is just so high that at the price point of $85, it doesn't make sense not to pick it up. So over at Hookah John, he still has them in stock, I believe, and you can pick them up for $85. And if you're on, you already know this coupon code if you're on Hookah John Circle of Friends over on Facebook. But in case you're not, first, I would definitely go onto Facebook and join that group because there's a lot of fantastic content being put on that page daily. But also, he has a coupon code that the users of that Facebook page use, and that's HJCOF, Hookah John Circle of Friends, abbreviated. And that'll get you 15% off your entire order. Maybe it's 10%. No, I think it's 10 or 15% off the entire order. I haven't done a big stock order from Hookah John in the last couple months, so I'm not quite sure. I'll probably fix that in text or something in the final cut of this video. But yeah, all in all, I would definitely say the stem is worth the pickup. Even with some of the negative factors in mind, they are not a huge deal, and the overall quality of the stem outshines and either of those two things that are subjectively wrong with it. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on the Aviator stem by Art Hookah. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have a moment and you'd like to see more content like this weekly, I put out videos at least once a week, review on anything hookah related, whether that's stems, hoses, shisha tobaccos, bowls, coals, or anything in the realm of hookah. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, do me a favor and like this video, and comment. If you'd like anything reviewed, you can go ahead and request it in the comments, and chances are I will get to it. I'm planning to up my upload frequency in the near future here as my schedule opens up to possibly 2 reviews a week if I can. So if I get enough requests for different products, I would be happy to review them for you. Thank you so much for watching, and happy smoking, guys.